Welcome to the deep dive. We take specialized source materials, this time focusing on the art of being alone, solitude and self-discovery, and pull out the core knowledge you need. So our mission today, it's really about extraction. We're digging into how you can transform time spent alone, moving it away from something maybe feared or avoided into, well, a practice, a source of strength and self-discovery. And I think we need to state the main idea right up front. Being alone just isn't the same thing as being lonely. The sources are very clear here.
Absolutely. Loneliness is usually painted as this involuntary thing, right? Like a painful gap, a longing for connection that's just not there.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas solitude is framed completely differently. It's presented as like an intentional art
Right.
choice.
A chosen clarity. Yeah. Something that actually builds emotional strength.
Okay, so why is that distinction so crucial? You mentioned something about a fear of the mirror.
Yeah, that's a powerful way the sources frame it. It taps into why we avoid being alone with ourselves.
Right. The material points out how modern life, kind of pushes us away from silence. We're always scrolling, always plugged in.
Constantly seeking input. So even if you're physically by yourself, you're rarely with yourself. You're distracted.
So why? Why do we run from that quiet?
Well, the sources suggest it's because solitude forces us to face what we've been pushing down. It's like turning off the noise machine.
And suddenly you hear everything.
Exactly. All the stuff we use busyness to avoid, buried memories, insecurities we don't want to admit, maybe truths about where our life is heading. It all bubbles up.
Okay. That's where the mirror analogy comes in. Solitude isn't the enemy.
No, it's just a reflection, maybe the most honest one you'll ever get. It shows you what still hurts, what truly matters underneath all the noise, and maybe what parts of yourself still need some attention, some healing.
Avoiding that mirror means avoiding growth, essentially.
Pretty much. But the sources argue that choosing to sit with it, even when it's uncomfortable, that's where real self-understanding comes from. The kind most people, frankly, never reach.
Okay, that makes sense. So if we accept that avoiding the mirror has a cost, let's nail down that difference again. Loneliness versus solitude.
Well, think about energy. Loneliness often feels draining, right? Like a deficit. You're looking outward, hoping someone else will fill this perceived emptiness inside.
Right, constantly seeking external validation.
Yeah. But solitude, that's presented as proactive, an investment in yourself. It's the peace that comes from intentionally being with yourself.
So it stops that frantic search outside.
Because you start realizing that the validation you really need in that moment has to come from within. You're looking in the mirror and starting to accept, maybe even appreciate who's looking back.
And that internal shift, that's the key to transformation.
That's what the sources suggest. When you choose solitude, you start filtering the world less through what others expect and more through your own internal landscape. You actually begin to hear your own voice again.
Noticing the small things, like breathing or...
Yeah, exactly. Your breath, the feeling of, sunlight on your skin, your own heartbeat. Simple, fundamental things.
It sounds almost trivial, but you're saying it's actually huge.
It is, because when you tune back into those internal signals, you have this realization you weren't actually empty before. You were just distracted, drowning in external noise, unable to recognize the fullness already there.
Okay. And starting this practice, embracing solitude, it apparently teaches some core lessons. The sources highlight 3 big ones.
Yeah, 3 fundamental shifts in perspective. And these are really crucial if you, listening, want to turn this idea into something real in your life.
Let's break them down. What's the first one?
Lesson 1 is, you are your own home.
Explain that.
Well, think about it. People come and go. Circumstances change constantly. Life is full of impermanence. But the one constant, the one relationship you have from birth until death is with yourself.
So if you treat yourself like temporary housing,
you won't invest, right? But if you accept that you are your permanent address, your sovereign space, then you start to care for it differently. You choose thoughts, actions, environments that are nourishing and sustainable, not just quick fixes or distractions.
and that lessens the need for everyone else's approval.
Massively. Because your primary home is secure. Okay, lesson 2 builds on that. Stillness is strength.
That feels counterintuitive. We usually think of action, speed, doing things as strength.
Right. Society rewards the hustle, the chase. But the sources argue true strength often lies in the ability to stop chasing, to just be still and observe
Observe one.
your internal world. Imagine your thoughts and feelings are like a fast-flowing river. If you're always wading in it, thrashing around, all you feel is chaos.
Okay.
But if you step onto the bank, find that stillness, you can actually watch the current. You start seeing patterns. Oh, that situation always triggers this feeling. Or this desire keeps popping up.
So stillness brings awareness.
Exactly. And awareness is the starting point for any real change. You can't change what you don't see clearly.
That's a powerful reframe. Okay, lesson 3. This one challenges how we think about self-love.
Yeah, it says, self-love isn't loud.
Meaning, not the performative stuff we see online.
Pretty much. It's not necessarily about the perfect selfie, the motivational quote, the, hashtag self-care hashtag.
So what is it then?
According to these sources, it's quieter, fiercer maybe. It's about making the hard, often unglamorous choices that genuinely heal and support you, especially when nobody else is watching or validating it.
Like choosing rest when everyone else is rushing.
Yes. Or choosing peace over getting drawn into drama. Choosing what feels purposeful to you, even if it's not popular. Solitude gives you that quiet space to figure out what truly nourishes you versus what just looks good or distracts you. It's like building internal boundaries.
Protecting your inner world.
Precisely.
And achieving that stillness, making those quiet choices. It seems like silence itself is key here. The sources really emphasize the power of silence.
They do. And importantly, they argue silence isn't just emptiness. It's not just the lack of noise. It's an active state.
Active how?
It's the environment where the mind can actually reset, where your intuition, maybe your soul, whatever you want to call it, gets a chance to recharge.
That makes sense. The sources mention historical figures, right? Thinkers, artists.
Yes. Leaders, monks, people throughout history who deliberately sought solitude. Why? Because deep thinking, creativity, clarity, they often emerge from that quiet space.
It's that paradox again. We run from silence thinking it's empty.
But the argument is it's actually full of answers. When you finally stop talking, stop running, stop consuming quite so much, life or maybe your own deeper wisdom starts to speak. And it's usually pretty clear when it does.
Okay, so this quiet clarity, this internal strength, this leads us nicely into the practical side. For you listening, how do you actually start building this muscle? The sources give 5 concrete steps.
Right, moving from philosophy to action.
Exactly what we aim for. Step 1 sounds simple, but maybe isn't. Start small.
Yeah, just 10 minutes a day. That's the recommendation. 10 minutes with 0 distraction.
Yeah, no phone, no music, no podcast.
Nope.
Nothing.
Nothing. Just you. Breathing, feeling your own presence in the room. It's not about achieving instant zen. It's like resistance training for your attention span. Micro-dosing solitude to build up tolerance.
Okay. Step 2, journaling.
Yes. Writing down your thoughts. The sources call this therapy without judgment.
Why is that so important?
Because it lets you meet the parts of yourself you usually ignore or suppress. You can pour out anxieties, ideas, frustrations onto the page without any filter, without worrying about how it sounds or what someone else will think. It's a safe space for self-confrontation.
Makes sense. Step 3 is interesting. Take yourself on solo dates.
Yeah. This one tackles the social awkwardness some people feel about being alone in public.
So actually go out and do things alone, like dinner or a movie.
Exactly. A walk in the park, coffee at your favorite spot, whatever you enjoy. The point is to actively demonstrate to yourself that you don't need someone else there to feel complete or to enjoy things. You're proving you can be your own good company.
That links back to that you are your own home idea. Okay, step 4. Meditate or reflect daily. How is this different from the 10 minutes of quiet?
It's more focused. The 10 minutes is just about being. Meditation or reflection is more about building specific self-awareness, learning to observe your thoughts and feelings as they arise without immediately getting swept away by them.
Creating a bit of space between stimulus and response.
That's it, exactly. Solitude helps widen that gap, giving you a moment to choose your response instead of just reacting automatically based on old patterns or triggers.
Okay, and the final step, step 5.
Protect your energy.
How does solitude help with that?
Well, once you've spent some time in that quiet, observant state from the other steps, you become much more sensitive. You start to clearly recognize what and who drains your internal resources versus what nourishes them.
So you can make better choices about where you spend your time and who you spend it with.
Precisely. You learn to identify the people, activities, even environments that cost you your peace, and you can consciously choose to limit exposure or engage differently. You're safeguarding that internal well-being you've started to cultivate.
So really, mastering solitude isn't about cutting yourself off from the world.
Not at all, according to these sources. It's not about isolation. It's about building a strong enough inner foundation, loving yourself enough that you no longer fear the absence of others. You can connect more authentically because you're not connecting out of neediness or fear of being alone.
Okay, so wrapping this up for you, our listener, the big takeaway seems to be a fundamental reframing. Solitude isn't punishment. It's not escape either.
No, the sources frame it as preparation. It's the dedicated space where you do the inner work, healing, growing, building those emotional muscles that ultimately only you can build for yourself.
When you engage with it intentionally, it leads to alignment, not isolation. It's about finding peace, not confirming emptiness.
Right. It's full, not empty.
So here's the final thought to leave you with. The world is constantly shouting, right? Stay busy, achieve more, keep moving. But there's often that quieter voice inside, maybe just a whisper, saying,
Still.
yeah. So the provocative question from this deep dive is, if you actually dare to listen to that whisper, if you create that stillness, what truth, what powerful voice might finally emerge for you?